How we doing? How we doing? How we doing, guys? Welcome to episode 177 of the Exec Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Evelez Wasan. How we doing? How we doing? How we doing? All right. You guys are going to get two back-to-back episodes. You're going to get one tomorrow in the morning, and then you're going to get one Saturday morning. Just breaking up different things. Tomorrow's will probably be more focused on what I expect from the Formula One Grand Prix, NASCAR, more race heavy. This one's more NFL free agency heavy. Champions League is set, the quarterfinals. Talk a little bit about NBA, couple NBA injuries that we got to get to. And a couple NBA stories and stuff like that. But it's mostly going to be about free agency. There was a lot of moves. Not anything particularly, to be honest. This free agency was probably one of the most malign free agency periods that I've seen in some time. Not many big people moving. Really no stars moving. If you consider Geno Smith or Sam Darnold or DeMarcus Lawrence or a Joey Bosa, like that's the extent of like what we are. That's the star level, I guess you could say, of what happened. A lot of linemen, a lot of D tackles, a lot of one-year deals. We're not going to go through all the one-year deals because they are exhausting and they honestly don't make a shit of difference. We're going to go through what I think were the biggest trades, the biggest moves, the biggest signings, what I think they are going to do for those teams, and the repercussions that they take for that team in the draft. Other than that, we're going to start with NASCAR, though. Christopher Bell makes it three in a row at Phoenix. So he's run 3 races in a row after William Byron won the Daytona 500. If I'm being honest, the guy's just pulling it out of his ass. He defended against Denny Hamlin and his teammate Denny Hamlin and Carl Larson, who was there all day. He started making his move in stage 3, the last stage of the race. He survived the 4 restarts that led up to the green-white checkered. And he was the best car on restarts. He got the best get-off. He could cut the dog leg the most. He could keep the speed on the outside, still keep his speed on the inside. It was the most balanced car and the fastest car. When people passed him, he passed them in restarts pretty easily. And they keep dominating. So JGR keeps dominating. Christopher Bell mostly, not just Joe Gibbs, but Christopher Bell. He's going for the championship. He was in the championship 4 last year. He should have won last year. Blaney kind of took it from him in the last few laps there. He passed him at Phoenix. Ironically, last year. So he's going for a vengeance. He has 3 wins. He has nothing to lose. He's already in the playoffs. He could rack up another 10 wins. It wouldn't do much for him. He could rack a bunch of stage wins up to get playoff points. You get playoff points for winning as well. I feel like the next few races that they're going to go to, we'll talk about that more tomorrow. I think that they are a little bit more tailored for a Kyle Larson. You look like a guy like a Tyler Reddick, a Chase Elliott, even a Kyle Busch, a Denny Hamlin, a Joey Logano. I think that they will be more in the winner's circle moving forward, but Christopher Bell is having a hell of a beginning of the season. So shout out to him and Joe Gibbs Racing, making that 20 that we knew for going to victory lane all those years with Tony Stewart, Smoke, making him make that 20 proud, that number. That's a very special number in NASCAR, and it's a very special number in Joe Gibbs Racing, just like the 11 and just like the 18. So that's for NASCAR. Let's get to the Champions League. Free agency is going to take most of this episode, so we're going to get to the Champions League. Real Madrid goes through to the quarters against Arsenal, who destroyed PSG. PSG destroyed Liverpool. They're going against Arsenal, who destroyed PSV. And I'm honestly not confident. Arsenal's playing really well. They're second in the Premier League. And the way, yes, Real Madrid got over Atletico Madrid, but if you look at that second game, and you guys that saw that second game, I don't even have to talk about it. The way that after that first 20 seconds happened where the goal happened out of nowhere, just like it was Real Madrid's ball. They made a bad pass backwards. It got into the path. One pass later, and then goal. That was demoralizing. I figured that, it was 2-2 on aggregate. I figured that Real Madrid would rebound, even if it took a half, and score to win in regulation. But what I've noticed from this team all year is they don't have no mental toughness. They don't have a switch like the Ronaldo teams or even the Benzema teams that you could legitimately say like, oh, okay, now the intensity has gone up. And I feel like it started with the lineup. It started with the people they put out there. They should not have put Jude Bellingham out there. He played a horrible 45-minute first half. They should have not put Luka Modric out there. He played a horrible 45-minute first half. I think he waited. I think Ancelotti waited too long for the substitutions. I think that he should have done them right at halftime. Taking Jude Bellingham out. Taking Modric out. I would have started with Brahim Diaz. I would have started with Camavinga. They were the ones that replaced Bellingham and Modric. I don't like the way Mbappe plays the beginning of the game. He plays too passive. They don't play like a team. They play like a group of individuals. And in soccer, you cannot do that. Like you have to play as a team. You cannot, be doing your own thing when you are getting double and triple locked like they were doing Vinny. They weren't going to let Vinny score. That was evident. They kept a lot of defensemen in the back. They played off the counterattack, and they got opportunities. And, Courtois got us out of some jams early and late. But we should have won this game in regulation. Vinny missed a absolute horrendous penalty. Horrendous. I don't understand how you're a superstar player, one of the top 5 players in the world, and you approach a penalty in the Champions League that you've never missed. You've never missed a penalty kick in the Champions League. And you go up there knowing that it's 2-2 on aggregate. All you need is a goal to move on in regulation, not go to penalties, not go to extra time, risk injury. And you lean back, you try to hit it as hard as you can, and that shit goes 40 yards that way. I don't understand. You should have just played the goalie. You should have played mind games with him, approached the ball with confidence. I don't know why Mbappe didn't take it. It was Mbappe's penalty. Mbappe's the one that caused the penalty. So I don't know. They talked at the spot, And ultimately, I guess Vinny won the rock, paper, scissors or whatever the hell they did. But honestly, I would have had Mbappe take that because Mbappe was kind of playing better at that point. Vinny was attacking, but he was attacking by himself. He wasn't really like playing with the team. Most of the game, really, he tried to do it by himself. There was opportunities, bad passes, horrible passing. I mean, their accuracy was in the high 80s, low 90s, but like some of these passes were atrocious in the deep third of Atletico Madrid's side of the pitch. When you think about, passing backwards, constantly passing backwards, like no runs. It was just stagnant. It didn't look confident to me. And I think it was because of that lineup, because you had Jude Bellingham coming back from an injury, because you put Modric out there instead of a young Brahim Diaz or a Camavinga. But you got away with it. You made it to you get away with the missed penalty. You get away with giving up a goal 20 seconds into the game. You survive extra time, which was not easy, even though you got back in the game attacking-wise. And then, Courtois and, did his thing. And he blocked the kick, and then Rudiger, as a fifth kicker in the penalty shootout, sent us through the quarterfinals. Now, against Arsenal, I don't think that that's going to work. Yes, we have the aura of the champions. We're 15-time champs, and we're the Blancos and everything like that. But we got to play better. I mean, and any soccer fan, whether it's Real Madrid or not, or just a soccer expert would tell you that we play like shit. We've played like shit all year. And it's embarrassing, to be honest. Like, we're moving on, but it just doesn't feel like today's the year. This year's another year of a championship. All right. So let's get to NFL free agency. Get through those moves. Like I said, not a lot of crazy stuff happening, but stuff. We talked about the Debo trade. So the next one was Jonah Jackson from the Rams to the Bears. This is the Bears in an attempt to finally do what they should have done last year and protected Caleb Williams. It was for a 6th-round pick. Jonah Jackson's a guard. They gave him 3 years, $51 million. Actually, no, he signed a 3-year, $51 million deal last year with the Rams. He landed on IR after week 2, returned 1 game in week 10, and then promptly benched. There's only $8.5 million left on the contract. That's guaranteed. They're just trying to help out Caleb. This was the first move for Caleb, and they've done more, and we'll get to those. Next, the biggest move for the Bears, in my opinion, Joe Thuney. They grabbed the 4-time Super Bowl champion, or the 4 or 5-time Super Bowl champion from the Chiefs and the Patriots. And they, because the Chiefs franchise tagged Trey Smith, Joe Thuney goes out on the market, and now the Bears have a future Hall of Fame guard to protect Caleb Williams. So they got the 2 guards already set up, right? So that's pretty good. Joe Thuney's going to be a great guard. I mean, it's a model of consistency. Just don't put him at left tackle. I think that Kansas City should have switched him back to the guard position for the Super Bowl, but that's just me. So Joe Thuney goes to the Bears. This also kind of like starts keying in what they're going to go in the draft for. Even though I think that they should go offensive line. Okay, then Alex Kappa gets signed by the Raiders, 2 years, $11 million. Guard. Not necessarily something fancy, just a guard signing, to protect Geno Smith, or if they draft Shador or whoever they have at quarterback. Right now it's Geno Smith. Next, we have the Texans trade for Christian Kirk after the Tank Dell injury. Stephon Diggs torn in his ACL, probably not coming back to the team. He hasn't moved yet, but he's most likely not going to be there. So for a 7th-round pick, you get Christian Kirk to add to that receiving core with Nico Collins, Tank Dell, and maybe Stephon, but right now we don't know. And, of course, Dalton Schultz. Do I believe that this is a great move? He adds speed. Tank Dell has speed. Nico definitely has some speed. But he's a pretty sure-handed receiver. He had 1,000+ yards with Trevor Lawrence a few years back. So I think it's a good move for the Jaguars. They have so much shit they got to do that, losing him, whatever, you're gonna have to fill in wide receiver depth beyond him. So, I think it's a good thing for the Texans. Like I said, like these moves are boring, guys. Like, it was a boring free agency frenzy this year. They're not going to see any big names here move besides, like I said, Sam Darnold, Geno Smith, DeMarcus Lawrence, Christian Kirk. Like, that's pretty much it. Like, it's not. We talked about Zach Bond. The Raiders trade for Geno Smith for a 3rd-round pick in this 2025 draft. Pete Carroll, Tom Brady needed a veteran presence that's not Gardner Minshew. They released him. So after missing out on Matthew Stafford, which they wanted to sign, they get Pete Carroll, his old quarterback, get him something comfortable that he can be with. I think Geno's going to do good. He's going to make Brock Bowers look good, Michael Mayer. They're going to need another receiver, probably get one in the draft, probably get a couple in the draft. But overall, I think for the Seahawks, they bring in Sam Darnold, which we'll get to later. But Tom Brady looking for a solid starter to start his reign as part owner and brain trust there. I think it's a pretty good deal. Geno Smith is probably the best quarterback they've had since Jimmy G, to be honest. But I still think they should take Shador Sanders there at the sixth spot. So we'll see where they go. Next is the Ravens re-sign Ronnie Stanley. He was a big topic of conversation. Where was he going to re-sign? Was they going to move him? The deal's 3 years, $60 million. The left tackle for Lamar Jackson's back, so they don't have to worry about that left side. So just a re-signing, good re-signing for the Ravens. Next, you got Myles Garrett gets extended, 4 years, $160 million, $123.5 guaranteed. This puts into question now, is Micah going to get his money? Is Trey Hendrickson going to get his money? Because this breaks the record, essentially, after almost forcing his way out, saying he wanted to be traded, he wanted to win. They just said, nah, bro, here's 4 years, here's $123.5 million guaranteed, $160 million total, and shut up and be a Brown for basically, I think, what's going to be the rest of his career. They weren't going to trade him, obviously. They give him $40 million a year. This also affects Jamar Chase because that's what's probably what he was looking for as the number one receiver in the league. So, I think Cleveland, they're not going nowhere. Honestly, I don't think that they will go anywhere. Maybe if they draft Cam Ward at the 2nd spot, but he might be gone after the Titans, unless the Titans go Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter. So I just think it's just to keep like your best player, the guy who sells the most jerseys. Pay him what you got to pay him and just move forward, because you weren't gonna trade him, obviously. Then you got the Steelers trade for DK Metcalf for a second-round pick and a late-round pick swap. Then they paid him, gave him $150 million, with $30 million a year. So basically a Tyreek Hill type of type of deal there. If you don't have the quarterback set, and they still don't, they're in between Aaron Rodgers. They lost Justin Fields. He went to the Jets. We'll get to that. Mason Rudolph is back. Kenny Pickett, obviously, now is with the Browns, I think, which I think we'll get to that a little bit later as well. Are they going to go something in the draft? Will they look at a Kyle McCord? Will they look at a Jackson Dart? Will they look at a Jalen Milroe? Are they going to go after an Aaron Rodgers? They can't go after a Sam Darnold. He's with the Seahawks. There's not much out there in terms of quarterbacks right now. Kirk Cousins is going to stay with Atlanta. So they have to find a quarterback. I'm thinking at this point it will be Aaron Rodgers, maybe. But right now they have DK Metcalf, George Pickens. DK will wear number 4. George keeps his number 14. And not much else on that offensive side. Not much else. So it's a good signing if you had a quarterback. They don't have a quarterback, so I think it's just like, what are you adding him for if you don't have the most important positions, set yet. Next, Davante Adams, probably the best signing of free agency in my opinion. The Rams getting Davante Adams, knowing that Cooper Kupp is leaving. He got released, I believe yesterday, officially released. So he is looking for a new team. I would like to see him with the Kansas City Chiefs. If not, maybe the Commanders could take a gander at him, add him to that Debo and Scary Terry line up there. The Chargers possibly with Ladd McConkey. Those would be good landing spots for him. But back to what I was saying, this is the best signing because Davante's just going to fit seamlessly into this offense. McVay knows exactly how to use him. He has Puka as a number 1, just like he had Garrett Wilson at the Jets. I think he has still left in the tank to be not only a productive wide receiver, but an elite wide receiver. I still think he has every attribute besides maybe the speed, but he never really had big speed. He still has the savviness, probably still the best release package in the NFL. So I think that Stafford and him are going to have a great partnership with Puka Nacua, with Kyron Williams, that young, good defense, and the way that they're kind of setting up that offensive line. I see this move possibly paying dividends late in January, possibly February next year for the Rams. You got to understand that this was the closest team to beat the Eagles. They were at the 13-yard line, and if they would have blocked Jalen Carter even a little bit, they would have gone to the NFC Championship game. So the deal's 2 years, $46 million, $26 million guaranteed. Pretty good for him as a veteran elite receiver. I think that honestly, I think it's a great move. And like I said, I think it's the best move of free agency so far for the Rams. And, definitely something that we could see pay dividends week 1 next year. Okay. Patriots sign Harold Landry from Tennessee, gives him 3 years, $43.5 million, $26 million guaranteed. They're just trying to get after the quarterback. Harold Landry was doing pretty good before he got hurt. He has 19.5 sacks over the last 2 years. As the Patriots rank last in defensive sack rate in 2024 with 4.7%, Landry's win rate has been okay in recent seasons. His 15% pass rush win rate is almost the exactly average of a starting edge. So it's production. It's not elite. Like I said, it's not a lot of crazy moves that happened. But it makes the Patriots better on the defensive side of the ball. So we'll see what happens with that, how he does. Next is Devon Godshaw, a former New England Patriot. He gets traded to the Saints for a 7th-round pick in 2026. Patriots couldn't afford it. That was basically it. They let him walk out the door. That's probably why they added Landry, even though he's an edge and Godshaw's a D tackle. But the Saints don't know what they're doing right now, as in what the future is right now. It's kind of a limbo. So it's a good signing for the defense. Put them against next to Cameron Jordan and try to plug up those running lanes. The next one is Khalil Mack re-signing with the Chargers. Joey Bosa got released. They kept Khalil Mack. They gave him 1 year, $18 million, fully guaranteed. So they're keeping Mack. He had a 17-sack season in 2023. He only had 6 last year. But the defense was really good last year, number 1 in scoring defense. So, give the future Hall of Famer another $18 million, 1 more year, see how productive he can be. And if, it's the last legs, then, you move on next year. But, if you're going to move on from one of them, you had to move on from the guy who was more injury prone. So they kept Khalil Mack. Next, we have Buccaneers signing Hassan Reddick, the old guy, to try to generate some type of edge pressure over there. They've been needing help with that for years, ever since the Brady Super Bowl. So, Todd Bowles gets another weapon on the defensive side, although old but savvy, in the Super Bowl champion. Actually, no, he wasn't on that team. He might have been. I'm not sure. But, Hassan has one of the best bends in the NFL, a great get-off. He's 30 years old, so he's kind of on the older side for edges, but I think that he'll be definitely a welcome addition to that Tampa Bay D-line. 1 year, $14 million, 12 million guaranteed, nothing crazy. Then Chiefs signed Jalen Moore, which is the guy that was a backup to Trent Williams in San Francisco. Might be a diamond in the rough here. He did pretty good in the 6 games that he started. They gave him 2 years, $30 million. Now that Joe Thuney walks out the door, they need a left tackle. This is the next iteration of the left tackle for the Chiefs after trying 4 different starters in the last 6 years. And yeah, I mean, it's going to be very interesting to see if this pans out. If it does, we'll have a great season from the Chief. If it doesn't, they'll be scrounging again, doing dump-off passes because they can't protect the edges. And we might have a repeat of what happened in the Super Bowl. Kingsley Sumayataya will be in his 2nd year. We'll see what happens there after a rocky rookie season after he got benched. But as Trent Williams' former backup and having a pretty good, a pretty good showing in those games, in 12 starts, I think that 2 years, $30 million, we'll see what happens, but they needed to do something. I think that they'll do something in the draft as well to try to shore up that left side. But they also need pass catchers, so I would look into a Cooper Kupp, a Tyler Lockett, for them, but we'll see because there's also some good receivers in this draft class. Not great, but some legit fast and good receivers. So we'll see what they do here in the upcoming draft here. Bears signed Drew Dahlman, the center, 3 years, $42 million, $28 million guaranteed. 9 games with the Falcons last year. He has a 95% pass block win rate, 9th at center, if he would have qualified, while his 67 run block win rate is a little below average. So he's a pass blocking guy that they need at center for Caleb Williams. So this is just shoring up that offensive line more, trying to protect him. He got hit the most last year, got sacked the most last year. So they're trying to definitely not have that happen again. Good signing for them. I think that it'll work. Bengals re-signed B.J. Hill, the DT, 3 years, $33 million, $60 million guaranteed. Still haven't signed Trey Hendrickson or Jamar Chase or T. Higgins. None of those contracts have been done yet. B.J. Hill is a run stopper. And I think that he's 11th at his position in run stop win rate at 37%. So, they need to keep stopping the run. You're in a division with Nick Chubb, with Derrick Henry. You need to be able to stop the run. It's just what it is. So, it's a good, he's 29, 3 years, $33 million, $16 million guaranteed, good re-signing, but they still have to sign T. Higgins. You still have to sign Jamar Chase. You still have to, if you're gonna even try to bring back Trey Hendrickson, which you should, but we'll see. Commanders signed Javon Kinlaw. I think this is a good signing after he was hurt. 3 years, $45 million, $30 million guaranteed, pretty hefty. Jets signed him last year. He did produce the best season of his career, recorded 4.5 sacks. He had a 10% pass rush win rate at the defensive tackle, 15th best, slightly above average. 35% run stop win rate, 19th best, slightly below average, but both were career highs. He isn't a needle mover. None of these guys are, but, I think it's going to help him stop the run. And possibly get a little bit after the quarterback. They need that. Commanders are not good up front. They lost Jonathan Allen. So they need a DT. They had Javon Kinlaw. I think it's a good addition. I don't know about the contract. Might be a little bit too much, but we'll see. Patriots signed Robert Spillane. They signed a good culture builder and linebacker, former Pittsburgh, former Raider. They give him 3 years, $37.5 million, $20.6 million guaranteed. Mike Vrabel has a new linebacker that he can tutel under his tutelage. We'll see how this goes. It's a Patriot signing, linebacker, nothing fancy here, just culture signing here, build that new Mike Vrabel tough style of approach to the game and toughness. I think it's a good signing for the Patriots. We have Chris Godwin re-signing with the Buccaneers, 3 years, $66 million, $44 million guaranteed. So he's still with Mike Evans. They might draft another wide receiver in this draft. With the injuries to him, that's the problem. But I think that without the injuries, he's easily a top 20 receiver in the NFL. So at $22 million per year, and considering T. Higgins is not available, that DK cost $30 million and they couldn't get him. Devontae Adams cost $23 million per year. Godwin getting Godwin back at this price is pretty good. And you keep the playmaker for Baker Mayfield alongside Mike Evans. He's 29 years old, coming off of the ankle injury. But we'll see if he goes back to his Pro Bowl form from his 2022 season. So we'll see. I think it's a good re-signing. They need to keep that receiving core together. Next, Dan Moore Jr., offensive tackle, 4 years, $82 million, $50 million guaranteed. The Titans sign him possibly to protect Cam Ward. We don't know because I definitely not Will Levis. I tell you that. He's coming off a great year. Career highs in both pass block win rate with 93%, 11th best out of 66, and run block win rate 76, 23rd best. He's gonna keep improving. I think that this is a great signing for the Titans, especially if they're thinking of drafting Cam Ward number 1 in the draft. You need to protect him. Don't be the Bears last year. So I think it's a great signing for the Tennessee Titans. Carlton Davis III, former Lions and Tampa Bay Buccaneer. He signs 3 years, $60 million, $34.5 million guaranteed with the Patriots now that Jonathan Jones leaves. So to pair him up with Christian Gonzalez as your 1-2 corner combination, that's pretty good to me, especially when you're dealing with Buffalo and Miami to a certain extent because of Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. And the Jets with Garrett Wilson and whoever they want to add to that. But I think this is a good signing for the Patriots. They're just shoring up that back end. Carlton Davis and Christian Gonzalez is a pretty solid 1-2 corner duo there. Lions signed DJ Reed from the Jets, 3 years, $48 million. So they lose Carlton Davis, get another solid cornerback to pair up with Terrion Arnold. And of course, you got Branch there, so that could do anything, the star position. 3 years, $48 million, pretty good. DJ Reed plays pretty good on the outside, was on the other side of Sauce Gardner. He's 28 years old, consistent player. So I think that he's going to be pretty good in that defense. No Aaron Glenn no more, so we'll see what happens with their new defensive coordinator. But I think that it's a very good addition after losing Carlton Davis III. Then we have Justin Fields signs with the Jets, so they have their new quarterback, 2 years, $40 million, $30 million guaranteed. So he didn't stay with the Steelers. They played with him. He was 4-2. They benched him. Never played him again, only in packages. Even when Russell started struggling, they still didn't play him. So we'll see what they do. We'll see what Aaron Glenn, funny enough, Aaron Glenn does as a quarterback, what they can do with him. He gets reunited with Garrett Wilson, so that should be maybe you get some Ohio State synergy there. But other than that, you're going to probably see him run, not pass a lot. I don't see this as a move that will get the Jets anywhere closer to where they need to go. I think this is just a patch for maybe next year to draft an Archie Manning or, any of the quarterbacks that are coming out next year. So I think this is just a stopgap, to be honest. But it's better than nothing. It's better than Gardner Minshew. It's better than a Daniel Jones. Possibly not better than a Sam Darnold, but Sam was not going back to New York. So they made the most of what was available. And you got Justin Fields after releasing Aaron Rodgers. The Seahawks then signed Sam Darnold after trading Geno Smith, 3 years, $105 million, $55 million guaranteed. Basically the Baker deal that he got after that great year with Tampa. Do I believe this was going to work? No Tyler Lockett, no DK Metcalf. All you have is JSN right now. You're going to have to add to that receiving core. I think you should look at this is a team that should definitely look at a Cooper Kupp. If you can offer T. Higgins something, try to go after him. But Stephon Diggs possibly, but he's coming from Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Jalen Naylor, and T.J. Hawkinson. So, and of course, Aaron Jones as a catching running back. So he's going to need some help back there. He has KJ Walker. He has Kenneth Walker He has JSN, but not much after that. So they need to add some stuff either in the draft or in the remaining of free agency to help him offensively. Patriots signed Milton Williams from the Super Bowl winning Eagles, 4 years, $104 million, $63 million guaranteed. He earned it. He's no longer underrated. He was really good last year. 5 sacks on 14% pass rush win rate at defensive tackle, 6th best at the position in the regular season. He had 2 sacks in the Super Bowl. $26 million a year is pretty good. They had the most cap space this year anyway, so they can deal out money. I think that this will be a great addition for the Patriots. They stole him from Carolina. Carolina supposedly had a deal in place, but then the Patriots just offered more because they could. And I think Milton Williams is going to be a welcome addition to that D-line for Mike Vrabel. Then we got Commanders trade for Laramie Tunsil from the Texans. After a couple concerns of locker room and just performance last year, Laramie Tunsil gets moved, the former All-Pro. Commanders get Laramie Tunsil and a 2025 4th-round pick, as the Texans get a 3rd-round pick this year, 7th-round pick this year, next year 2nd-round pick, and a 4th-round pick next year. I believe he still has to sign a new contract. But you need to protect Jaden Daniels. I think that you put Laramie Tunsil there and you forget about that left side of the line. I believe that he'll go back to his Pro Bowl All-Pro self now that he's with a new team and has a legit shot of winning. But Washington and the Patriots are the ones making the biggest splashes, I guess you could say, with names. I like this for the Washington Commanders. It's good for Jaden Daniels to not have to worry about that left side of the line, especially against guys like Nolan Smith, no Josh Sweat no more, possibly Bryce Huff, Jalix Hunt, Micah Parsons, Odigizua, people like that. So Kayvon Thibodeau, Brian Burns, that's the people in their division. And then that's not even mentioning everybody else in the conference. But that's a great signing for the Washington Commanders, in my opinion. A great trade there. And then for the Texans, they need to find a left tackle because you're not going to find a Laramie Tunsil just hanging off a tree. Then the Cardinals signed Josh Sweat, the Super Bowl winning edge out of the Eagles, 4 years, $76.4 million, $41 million guaranteed. If I'm being really honest, he had two and a half sacks in the Super Bowl. But if I'm being really honest, I think that the Cardinals are staring at another bad season. So I think he just did this for the money, unless he becomes the next, I don't know, Trey Hendrickson. When he made the jump from the Saints to the Bengals. I believe in this kid, but to become the number one pass rusher there after being on a great defensive line, I think he needed the $76.4 million with the $41 million guaranteed. So shout out to the Cardinals plucking him away from defending champs. But I think he has his work cut out for him, but I like the player. The Eagles and Browns swap backup QB, so the Eagles get DTR, more along the lines of the running quarterback that Jalen Hurts is, although a slender and different frame. And then Browns get Kenny Pickett. So the Browns have one quarterback right now, and his name is Kenny Pickett because Deshaun Watson is not going to play because of the Achilles injury. So, DTR has some upside. He's obviously not going to usurp Jalen Hurts. The Eagles actually get a 5th-round pick along with DTR, so that's how bad Kenny Pickett is to the Browns. And do I think that he's going to start? Possibly, because Kirk Cousins is staying at Atlanta. Sam Darnold's off the market, unless I don't think they're going to go after Aaron Rodgers. They have the ability to possibly draft Cam Ward, but then again, it's all depending on what the Titans do with that number 1 spot. If they take Cam Cam Ward at 1. I'm guessing Shador is on their radar, if not Abdul Carter, because he's there, or Travis Hunter. So we'll see, but they just swap backup QBs. Nothing crazy there. Guard Aaron Banks goes 4 years, $77 million to the Packers. So they're trying to keep, now they can move Elton Jenkins or Sean Ryan to center and replace the unrestricted free agent Josh Myers. I think that, honestly, what I'm seeing here is just the Packers trying to protect Jordan Love a little bit more, trying to also get rid of old guys on their line, move around some people, but we only see if this works when we see the season start. So we'll see what happens. Supposedly he's 38th out of 64 guards in his pass block win rate, and his run block win rate, he's 69th with ranch 46. So not crazy, just a mid-tier possible starter there. Malcolm Kuntz, he got hurt last year. He re-signs 1 year, $12 million with the Raiders to stay with Max Crosby after missing the whole season with a knee injury. He had a promising year the year before with 8 sacks and a 17% pass rush win rate, 22nd out of 50 qualifiers in his first season as a starter. After he basically knocked Tyree Wilson out of the depth chart as the number 1. Next to Max Crosby. So I like him. Good re-signing for the Raiders. 1 year, $12 million. Not that bad. Grady Jarrett, the long-time Atlanta Falcon D tackle, signs with the Bears, trying to get that pass rush, interior pass rush, to go get guys like J.J. McCarthy with the Vikings, or Jordan Love with the Packers, or Jared Goff with the Lions, trying to go get after him through interior pressure. They give him 3 years, $43.5 million, $28.5 million guaranteed. He's been in the league already 10 years. I think that, entering his age 32 season, can he have a resurgence? I believe so. But we'll see. I think that he's just a run stopper at this point in his career. Colts signed Charvarius Ward from the 49ers. He was a free agent 3 years, up to $60 million, $35 million guaranteed. Really good Super Bowl winning corner with the Chiefs. He had a down season for him, so he could possibly have a bounce back season, be one of the best corners in the NFL this upcoming year. So I think it's a good investment by the Colts in seeing somebody that could possibly be on the low end of value this year, and then next year he has a great year and the value is incredible for 3 years, $60 million, just $35 million guaranteed for an elite number 1 corner. And you still have Kenny Moore on the other side. Next, you have the Panthers signed Tershawn Wharton, the D tackle from the young D tackle from the Kansas City Chiefs. 3 years, up to $54 million, $30 million guaranteed, just to get more, just more pressure up the middle of the field. When you're facing Michael Penix, when you're facing, what it's looking like to be Derek Carr, and Baker Mayfield, you want to get to the quarterback. You have no Brian Burns, obviously, because you gave him all last year. So that's a good signing for them. I think Wharton will be pretty good in that defense. He was next to Chris Jones in the Chiefs, but he's still young, and I think he could possibly blossom there in the Panthers. Next, you have Chase Young, gets re-signed by the Saints, 3 years, $51 million. Looks like he did enough. He didn't have a great year But he's still a former number one pick, a former number two pick that has still a lot of promise. We don't know. Like I said, I think they're the most lost team in the NFL, them and the Cardinals at this point. Maybe the Cowboys too, but they're a little bit more put together. But I think that, we'll see what happens. Hopefully he gets to that level that he was at Ohio State. He was a number two pick. But I just don't know. I haven't seen it in the NFL yet. So he's not 26 yet, so he's still young. But we'll see how that works. I think that it could be good, but at the same time, I think it's a risky move. Paulson Adebo, cornerback, he signs 3 years, $54 million, $38.5 million guaranteed with the Giants. Basically, trying to somehow, some way stop the passing game of the Eagles, of the Commanders, of the Cowboys in a certain extent with CD. I think that, he's pretty good. He's not great. He was the number one ranked cornerback in Matt Bowen's list. DJ Reed, who was number one. Adebo was number 8 in a shortened season after suffering a broken femur. But he has good on-ball production. So, we'll see how he plays with the Giants this year. Remember, anybody that goes over there goes to basically die. So we'll see what happens. Vikings signed Jonathan Allen from Washington Redskins. They gave him 3 years, $60 million. Sure up that D tackle spot with an All-Pro. I think Jonathan Allen still has a lot in the tank. I think he's going to show it at the Vikings, feeling that he has a chance to win, although Jonathan Allen, had a chance to win last year, but, now with a fresh start at the Vikings, I think he's going to do great. I think he's going to do good. And that gives Jerzon Newton finally his runway at the Commanders to be a dominant D tackle. That's why they drafted him. So hopefully one All-Pro leaves to a future All-Pro. That's what the Commanders are hoping. And Vikings are still hoping that they get an All-Pro Jonathan Allen, which I think they will. He's a really good player. The Giants sign safety Javon Holland from the Dolphins, so we lose our All-Pro safety at the Dolphins. We haven't done shit in free agency, so I really don't care. 3 years, $45 million, $30.3 million guaranteed. We couldn't pay him, so I think he's going to do good at the Giants. He's a great safety, overall. So I think that this is a great signing for the Giants and good contract for Javon. Couldn't get it in Miami, so he goes to the Giants. Probably not going to do nothing this year unless they somehow get their hands on Cam Ward or Shador. And even then, they have to protect them, so we'll see what happens there. But I think it's a good signing for the Giants, signing the former All-Pro. Vikings signed Will Fries to a 5-year, $88 million, the guard. It looks expensive. $88 million, 5 years. They must believe in him. He had a 92 pass block win rate average last season, so that's pretty good. Guards, it's just, you just see them in the middle there. When they pay him this much, you have to see it in the season. I think it's going to be a good move, but we shall see when they strap up. Texans swap C.J. Gardner-Johnson and guard Kenyon Green. So Kenyon Green goes to the Eagles for a 5th-round pick in 2026, and C.J. Gardner-Johnson, one of the heart and soul of that Super Bowl defense. Also, Texans get a 2026 6th-round pick as well. While the Eagles get a 2026 5th-round pick. I think this is great for CJ Gardner-Johnson coming off a Super Bowl, going to a team that can still has talent over there with Will Anderson and Daniil Hunter. You have Derek Stingley. I think it's going to be a very, very good defense for DeMeco Ryans next year. So just adding that hard-hitting safety back there is very important. And Kenyon Green, the former first-round pick, goes to the Eagles to possibly, if Mr. Lane Johnson or any one of those big guys in the middle, get hurt, they can definitely put Kenyon there to spot start or move him around if they want to. With Jeff Stoutland probably going to find a way to make him, just like a Mekhi Becton he did last year, effective in some way. So I believe that this rehabilitation project for Kenyon Green going to the Eagles is the best for him, and CJ going to the Texans is really good too. Next, we have Daniel Jones going to the Colts as being to be the competition for Anthony Richardson. The Colts really had no choice here. Sam Darnold was off the table. Geno Smith. You weren't going to get Aaron Rodgers. So Daniel Jones is the next thing. 1 year, $14 million. So basically nothing. He's just there to try to get a starting job over Anthony Richardson to see if he could push Anthony Richardson to be the best version of himself. So he has a chance of becoming a starter. So that's why he took it. The Colts are desperate. That's why they took it. And we'll see what happens. But I do not expect a lot from this acquisition for the Colts. Broncos side Talanoa Hufanga. The biggest thing about this free agency is probably the hemorrhaging of talent from the Eagles defense and the 49ers, both defense and offense. They've lost a lot, including Debo and Jalen Moore. It's not certain yet if they're going to trade CMC. They're trying, I believe, to get off of those big contracts and old players to go younger. We'll see if that works. But Talanoa Hufanga, the safety, goes 3 years, $45 million, $20 million guaranteed to the Broncos with Riley Moss, with a DPOY, Patrick Surtain. I think is going to be and Jonathan Cooper as well. So I think he's going to be a very, very good addition to that back end. First team All-Pro in 2022. So I think he's going to be pretty good back there with Nick Benito there and everything. That defense for Sean Payton is going to be very, very good. So good signing by the Broncos. Next, we have Panthers signed Trayvon Moehrig, 3 years, $51 million, the safety. There were the two top safeties, Javon Holland and Trayvon Moehrig. So Moehrig goes to the Panthers. Panthers are trying to build that defense. They really need to build that offense. They still need receivers and a running back, unless Jonathan Brooks is going to be effective this year. But I think it's a good signing. Young kid, 25 years old. But other than that, I think that it's a good signing for the Panthers. 3 years, $51 million. I think it's an okay signing. It's a starter that could possibly be a little bit more. So I think it's a good signing for the Panthers. Byron Murphy Jr. goes back to the Vikings. 3 years, $66 million. They keep their number one corner. He's one of the best corners in the NFL. I think, especially in that zone-heavy scheme that B-Flow likes to run. So this is a good re-signing by the Vikings. Next, you have Dayo Odengbo. He signs with the Edge. He signs with the Bears. 3 years, $48 million, $32 million guaranteed. The 2021 second-round pick. Recorded only 3 sacks this past season after posting 8 in 2023. But he has underlying metrics that look good. So we'll see how that works. But something to add to that Bears defensive line, along with what you added before. So, do I think it's going to make big dividends? Do I think he's going to be a star? Probably not, but it's a good depth piece there at edge. Cowboys signed Javonte Williams, the running back from the Broncos, 1 year, $3 million, so nothing. I still think that they're going to draft Ashton Genty. They lost Rico Dowdle. We'll talk about that a little bit later. So 1 year, $3 million. That is not spending at all, Jerry. You guys are really sucking right now. And Javonte Williams ain't going to get you anywhere. So next is Justin Reed, safety, Super Bowl winning safety for the Chiefs. He signs a 3-year, $31.5 million deal, $22.5 million guaranteed with the Saints. I think he's going to do good with Tyrann Mathieu there. And other than that, I still think that they're lost. Justin Reed's just going to go over there because he got the bread. He didn't get it from the Chiefs, so he got it from the Saints. I think he's just going to go over there and play good, but, not do really anything. That team is not doing anything, in my opinion. DeAndre Hopkins signs with the Ravens, 1 year, $5 million. Just to add to Zay Flowers there and Rashad Bateman. He didn't do much for the Chiefs last year outside of one game. So we'll see what he does with this offense. He's probably going to be the number 3 behind Rashad Bateman. And of course, Mark Andrews. So maybe the number 4. I think he could still get into those intermediate places and get first downs. He's not the crazy athlete he used to be. I think he can still go over the top and catch a good ball, 50-50 balls. But it's a good depth piece for the 12-year veteran, future Hall of Famer in DeAndre Hopkins to the Ravens. Another weapon for Lamar. Joey Bosa gets released by the Chargers, goes to the Bills. This is kind of like the Von Miller signing for them. 1 year, $12.6 million. He's just going to chase a ring at 29 years old. He's been hurt the last few seasons. He was really good when he got into the league, especially until 2019. But it's been hurt the last few seasons, just like Von Miller. Bills sign him to see if he can pop and have a great season at 29 years old. So we'll see if he gets back to that all-pro form with the Bills and gets pressure on the quarterback for them and becomes possibly their number 1 rusher. Cameron Bynum, the former Viking safety, he signs 4 years, $58.5 million with the Colts. I think that is a good signing for the Colts to put him with Charvarius Ward and Kenny Moore. That's a nice back end to have. I like Cameron Bynum. Not a crazy player, but a good player, a good starter. And I think it's a good signing for the Colts, another team that is possibly staring at limbo along with the Saints. And in their division, you have Tennessee, who doesn't know who's going to be their quarterback, Jaguars, who doesn't know if their quarterback's any really good, and then the Texans, who have to figure out that offensive line and just got rid of their best offensive lineman. So, whatever these teams do at this point is kind of filler. But I like Cameron Bynum signing for the Colts. Next, you got the Chargers sign Najee Harris, 1 year, $5.25 million. This is a depth piece, probably behind J.K. Dobbins. Not much else here, to be honest. He's slow. He's just going to be a bruiser, I think, in goal line situations. But he's a hardball type of guy, so I guess it's a good signing for the Chargers, but I personally don't like it. Leonard Floyd, the former Uh, Bill, Chief, Ram, Super Bowl champ. He signs with the Falcons, 1 year, $10 million, trying to bring more pressure off the edge, because they suck coming after the quarterback. So we'll see what happens there. I think it's a good signing. I think he's a little old, but I think he's a good signing. So we'll see. He had a nice year. He had 10.5 sacks, 16% pass rush win rate at edge. His fastest pass rush get off, 0.77 seconds in years. So he looks like he is back to being himself a little bit. So I think it's a good signing for the Falcons, who need help getting after the quarterback. Rams signed Poona Ford, former Chief, D tackle, just to stop the run. 3 years, $30 million, $17 million guaranteed. So they paid him off pretty good. Oh no, he was with the Chargers. Oh, my bad. Yeah, he was with the Chargers. Yeah, just stopping the run. That's what he's there for. Man, is it just me, guys? I know that I sound boring, but like these moves sound boring. Like, you can't blame me for, not being enthusiastic about these mid-ass moves. Like, I don't like these, bro. There's nothing here to be excited about. I haven't seen one move yet besides maybe Devontae Adams. Cowboys trade for Kaiir Elam, the former first-round pick for the Bills that didn't pan out at corner. Of course, the Cowboys go get him, with Harris, their cornerbacks coach over there, probably trying to turn him into a better version of what he is right now, because he's not good. So Kaiir Elam and the Cowboys get Kaiir Elam, 2025 6th-round pick, pick 204, and the Bills get a 2025 5th-round pick, 170, and the 2026 7th-round pick. Yeah, I mean, he sucks. And I'm a Gator, and he's a Gator as well, and he sucked. He sucked from day one. He's gotten cooked a lot. So we'll see what Harris does if he has his magic with the Cowboys and makes a good corner out of him. Javon Hargrave signs with the Vikings. 2 years, $30 million, 19 guaranteed. After Wharton and Milton Williams, this was probably like the next guy there. Javon Hargrave was hurt last year as a 49er. But I think that he played 3 games last season. But I think it's a pretty good signing. He had a partially torn right triceps last year. I think he's going to be good. He's still young. So I think it's a good signing for the Vikings over there to pair him up with Dallas Turner and try to see if Dallas Turner turns the corner and becomes the guy who was supposed to be Alabama when they drafted him in the first round last year. I believe at the 8th. No, it was like the 16th pick or something like that. But the Vikings need to get after the quarterback. They're another team that just can't get there after they sent Danielle Hunter to the Texans last year. So we'll see what they do. But I like the Javon Hargrave signing. Broncos sign Evan Ingram, 2 years, $23 million, $16.5 million fully guaranteed. Bo Nix has a nice safety blanket that has some speed. He's been productive. After a torn labrum and a hamstring injury last season, I think he's going to come back with a vengeance. I like the way Sean Payton uses his tight ends. I think he's going to be good. I think it's a good signing for Bo Nix and the Broncos. Steelers signed Darius Slay Jr. after getting released by the Eagles after winning a championship. They give him 1 year, $10 million, fully guaranteed. He still can play. He still has speed to cover at 34. He's an old cornerback, but he's still really savvy, especially in zone. And you put him with Joey Porter Jr. and Minka Fitzpatrick. I think he's going to be pretty good there. But only time will tell, because he could get cooked by Jamar Chase. He could get cooked by T. Higgins. The Browns don't really have anybody. And, of course, you could have Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman probably cook him as well. So we'll see how that goes over there in the Steelers. Cowboys trade for Kenneth Murray from the Titans, the linebacker. Cowboys get a 2025 seventh-round pick, pick 239. And the Titans get a 2025 sixth-round pick 188. With Eric Kendricks being an unrestricted free agent, Demarion Overshown recovering from tearing multiple ligaments in his right knee. They needed to add a linebacker, so they got Kenneth Murray. He's okay. This is just a depth piece because of the injury and Eric Kendricks not coming back, being a restricted free agent. So Cowboys are still not addressing what they need to, which is Micah Parsons and the wide receiver position, and the running back position. Like I said, Javonte Williams is not going to be something to be and about. So the Cowboys are really looking to make hay in the draft, I'm guessing. Kevin Zeitler, the guard, signs with the Titans, 1 year, $9 million. He was with the Lions. He played pretty well. He is old. He's 35. But he's a good pass protector, and if they're going to get Cam Ward, you need to protect him in the interior. So that's a good signing for the Titans. You have the Panthers signing Rico Dowdle, so Dallas allows Rico Dowdle to get out of there, which was probably their most productive running back last year. 1 year, $3 million. They didn't pay him anything. Value pick there with Jonathan Brooks and Chuba Hubbard, probably be the third scat back there. But to be honest, I don't think that moves the needle at all. It's like a third running back, basically, so that's not much there. Titans signed Draymond Jones to 1 year, $10 million, the D lineman, to stop the run, obviously. And that's pretty much it, guys. Like I said, it was very, 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 very. And Gardner Minshew went to the Chiefs as the backup because Carson Wentz, the free agent. Very nonchalant, mundane, just not fun free agency frenzy. We thought it was going to be a lot more chaotic. It hasn't been at all. Things that are still pending: Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Trey Hendrickson. That's Michael Parsons, Aaron Rodgers, Stephon Diggs. That's about it. There's nothing else pretty much left. So we'll see what happens here in the next few days as the new league year started and people start getting their guarantees of being on the roster and stuff like that. Not on the roster, but still with the team. If anything shakes up, we'll speak about it tomorrow. But as of right now, that is it. Like I said, not a lot of excitement from free agency frenzy. All right, NBA. OKC beats Boston yesterday, holds them to another low three-point shooting performance, one for 11 in the fourth quarter. I think OKC has the ability to beat Boston in a 7-game series if they were to go to the finals. If we look at the standings, Cleveland has already clinched a playoff spot at 55-10. Boston's 8.5 games back. New York is 13 games back. Milwaukee's 18.5 games back. Then they're tied with Indiana and Detroit for 4, 5, and 6. They're all 18.5 games back. Atlanta's 23.5 games back. Orlando's 25.5 games back. The Heat are 26 games back. We suck. Plain and simple. And Chicago's 28 games back, and that is your East bracket. Toronto's 32.5 games back. They're not making it. Philadelphia is 33 games back, the most disappointing team in the league this year, if you're not counting the Suns or the Pelicans, to be honest, but that's more injuries. Boston, you got to understand that they're just going to live and die by the three, and if they can't defend, that's what's going to cause them to lose. And they just couldn't defend Shea. He dropped 34 on him with no J-Dub. There was no KP, but that didn't matter. And they beat him in Boston. So definitely a statement there. In the Western Conference, OKC also clinched a playoff berth with the win yesterday. But they look really good. J-Dub is a little hurt right now, but he'll be back. They're 12 games up on Memphis, so they're not getting caught anytime soon at all. It's over. Memphis is 12 games back. Then Memphis and Denver are tied at 12 games back for 2 and 3. Lakers are just a half game behind them at 12 and a half games back. Houston is at 13 games back, just a game and a half behind the Lakers and 1 game behind 2 and 3. And Golden State is 16 and a half games back, 3.5 games behind Houston for that 5th spot. Minnesota is 16 and a half games back, tied with Golden State, 6 and 7 there at 16 and a half games back. Clippers are 18 games back. Sac is 20 games back, and Dallas is 21 and a half games back, with Phoenix being 24 games back. I believe this is your Western bracket with 17 games left. The Lakers, LeBron has a groin injury. He is day-to-day or week-to-week right now. So Luka is going to have the reins for the foreseeable next couple of games. See how that works. They're in the 4th spot. They have no Rui. They have no Rui. They have no Jackson Hayes. So we'll see what happens there. Denver have to figure it out with trying to not overexert Jokic. He was very tired against the OKC and Golden State yesterday. So as Golden State beat Denver yesterday or 2 days ago. But, in reality, no, not Golden State. Who? They beat, so Jokic dropped a 30, 20, and 20, which is the first time ever that's ever happened in the NBA. Then he lost to OKC in Denver, and then the next day on Monday against OKC again, they beat OKC, and he dropped a 30-point triple-double. But they're just using him too much. The usage rate is high. He really doesn't have a second real co-star besides Jamal Murray and everybody else. They have to hit their threes, and they're really bad at shooting threes. So we'll see what happens with Denver at that 3 spot, tied with Memphis and only a half a game up on the Lakers. Houston has been playing. They're 6 and 4. Golden State's been on a roll. They've won 5 in a row, 9 and 1 in their last 10. OKC is 8 and 2 in their last 10, and the Lakers are 8 and 2 in their last 10, losing 2 in a row. Right now, Minnesota's winning 6 in a row, 7 and 3 in the last 10. So they're chasing after that 6th spot. Other than that, De'Aaron Fox just got shut down today. Left pinky ligament damage. He's going to get surgery. He's done for the year. LeBron's out. We got the final stretch. And then in baseball news, Gerrit Cole, Tommy John surgery, out for the year. Luis Hill's hurt. So Max Fried is going to be the top ace there at the Yankees, along with Rodon, Stroman, and Clark Schmidt. That's going to be your Yankees rotation. That lineup is looking right now on paper not that strong because Judge has no coverage. We'll see how Belly and Goldschmidt hit along with Volpe. But right now, it's not looking too good for the Yanks as of this moment. We'll see if they possibly go after a Dylan Cease at the trade deadline or something like that to supplement that Gerrit Cole loss. But other than that, guys, tomorrow I will talk about Formula One, talk about NASCAR. I love you guys. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for being patient, waiting for these episodes. I really get home sometimes tired. And I just want to give you some energy. I know that today, because of the free agency frenzy, was just not fun, but I wish there was more excitement right now. But we're about to get Formula One rolling. We have NASCAR. You know, we're going to get baseball soon, so I'm really excited. I love you guys. God bless you, and I leave you all with the outro.